Once considered as the biggest talent in France, he now lies in the shadows of his own potential. Hey people, welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna be discussing about Ousmane Dembele, a player who was once deemed to be the next Thierry Henry and the player that was thought to have way more potential than Kylian Mbappe himself. Ousmane Dembele has recently joined PSG and his form there has been quite shaky. As of recording this video, Dembele has 0 goals and just 3 assists in 13 matches. He's been going through a rough period in his career for quite some time now. How did he get to this? Where did it all go wrong? Let's discuss that in today's video. Ousmane Dembele was born to immigrant parents who had come to France from Africa to live a better life. From a very young age, he was obsessed with football to a point where his parents had to force him to focus on his formal education in order to have a better life. Like every other stubborn kid, he refused to stop playing and wanted to even join an academy. After convincing his parents, he finally was able to join this team. He eventually joined Stade Rennais, where he developed his skills well. As a fresh graduate of this academy, in the 2015-16 season, Dembele played 26 games, scoring 12 times and clinching 5 assists. Not bad at all for an academy graduate. When he finally turned 19, Dortmund came swooping in and managed to sign him. Dortmund had recently let go of Henrik Mkhitaryan to Manchester United, and he left a gaping hole in Dortmund's attack. So when Dembele was brought in, everybody had their doubts. Fans felt that Dembele was a mere backup rather than a main signing and expected someone else to be their savior. The Dortmund coach back then was Thomas Tuchel, who made a bold move by starting Dembele in the very first game, and Dembele didn't disappoint. He showed the world that he was no pushover as he displayed his exceptional skills and electric pace. Tuchel's gamble didn't disappoint at all, and before you know it, Dembele became Dortmund's undisputed starter. He formed a deadly partnership with Aubameyang, and since he had no weak foot, he could be deployed anywhere in the attack. Dortmund sporting director Michael Zorc stated, "Ousmane can play in practically every position. He's great in one-on-ones, is deft with both his feet, is full of tricks and a menace in front of goal." When Tuchel was asked about Ousmane recently, he had this to say, "He's a very good player at a top level and I'm very fortunate to have trained him in my time at Dortmund. It was only 1 year, should have been longer, but I needed to leave and he decided to leave as well." Dembele's move to Barca was a controversial one. Barca were not just paying a huge sum to purchase him, but there were also concerns over Dembele's attitude even before he had arrived at Barcelona. He was being accused of trashing the apartment he had been renting in Germany from Jurgen Klopp. To force his move to Barcelona, Dembele stopped attending the training sessions at Dortmund and tried to cut off his contact with Dortmund. He was in fact bought by Barcelona to replace Neymar, as the Brazilian had left for PSG in another controversial move. Since Dembele was very young, everybody felt that he was a good long-term replacement for Neymar. Dembele though did not take long to disappoint, as he picked up an injury when making his first La Liga start for Barcelona in 2017. At first nobody thought too much of it. He showed glimpses of his true Dortmund self, but before his engine starts running rampant and he gets his gears running, he would pick up another injury. This kept happening again and again and became a recurring thing. At his time in Catalonia, Dembele in totality missed more than 100 games. Soon the media gave insights into Dembele's life and showed his lazy and unprofessional attitude towards his life and career. Some of the instances were that Dembele would often be the last one to arrive at the training. He wouldn't follow a proper diet and ate whatever he wanted, didn't work out enough and was overall being careless. And the fact that Barcelona were under Valverde made it even worse. Ernesto Valverde. He's that guy who wouldn't command or force his players, and he was what we call a yes man. Since players were allowed to do whatever they wanted to, everybody was happy, including Dembele. Nobody would force him to train properly, eat healthy food, stop procrastination, and thus leaving him in a horrible shape, which would eventually lead to an injury. Dembele was always seen as this expensive player who was destined for greatness but ultimately flopped. Despite this, he managed to get 185 appearances, scoring 46 goals in 6 years. Once Valverde was sacked and Bartomeu was gone, Ronald Koeman came in, and from then on Dembele started to work hard. He needed someone to push him and guide him. In an interview, he stated that he had realized that he used to be very lazy and fragile, but now he knew what to do and what not to do. This felt like a breath of fresh air, but didn't last long at all. As usual, Dembele picked up another injury. His body was still not completely fit. All the negligence and procrastination started to show its effects even after working hard. In the last 3 years after Xavi became the head coach, he helped Dembele a lot. Whenever Xavi was asked about Dembele, he would readily defend him and would always appreciate and believe in Dembele's talent and hard work. The fans meanwhile were frustrated as Dembele was very inconsistent. While in one game he'd score and have an amazing performance, he would then proceed to give multiple average performances in the succeeding games before repeating the cycle once more. This would go on till he got injured again. As a joke, many fans trolled him but never really hated him. Whenever Dembele had a long injury, the fans and the team would wear his shirt and pray for him to get well soon. They sure trolled him but never gave up on him. In the current 23-24 pre-season, he had managed to consistently keep up good performances. The atmosphere around him had changed, as he was respected and not seen as a liability or a burden. His masterclass against Real Madrid, where he managed to score a goal and run rings around the defense, earned him a lot of appreciation. Everybody knew that this time Dembele for sure would make it to the top. But just like every single time, Dembele managed to irritate the fans. Dembele abruptly joined PSG without even giving proper information about this move to anybody. Xavi, who had always believed in Dembele, was surprised to say the least. He stated, "I'm a little disappointed. There was no way to convince him. This is the final decision and it is his personal decision. PSG have made an offer that is completely out of the market. We cannot compete with it." Dembele has been having a disaster of a season at PSG. Meanwhile, Barcelona without Dembele are doing pretty well. Dembele's departure has opened the way for youngsters like Lamine Yamal to show their talent, so it was a blessing in disguise for Barcelona. Speaking about clubs, PSG has lost big players like Neymar and Messi and are having one of their most challenging seasons. This, coupled by the fact that League One is struggling with TV sponsorship, makes matters worse. Once deemed as a player who would surpass legends, Dembele has been left in his own shadow. We as fans might be expecting a lot from Dembele as well, which might not help his current situation at all. As a Barca fan, deep down I wish Dembele the very best and hope that he makes it to the top once again. Let's see what the future holds for him.